live according to Zoom. Now let me just check in on the YouTube to make sure that it's actually showing up, because sometimes that happens. There we are. Yep. I have to pull it up on my phone so I can see the comments. All right. Well, let me share this around real quick. I have to do it from here.
How do I look? How's my hair, Sheila? Is it good?
Oh, your hair looks fine, honey.
I should have shaved. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to wear tonight. I was thinking about a suit, but then I've been working all day and then
You're
I'm
so funny. You
free.
are so funny. I listen, I'm just tickled pink that you're actually here. So, for anybody who's new to uh my channel, okay. So, this is Jason Gray, the author that I have been recording, and I'm so grateful that you are here this evening. This is our first time to chat. Now I got to get back to YouTube so I can make sure I can see the live chat. Okay. So now anyone on my Facebook page, along with those who are have the notifications set, see, the only problem with that sometimes, Jason, is I have been notified by a couple of folks that they don't get the notifications. And so it just depends on how YouTube wants to be. You know what I mean? So I do see that we have at least two people that are watching from at least from what I see here. So Jason, we've really not had a chance for you and I to even chat at all. This
Well,
is,
we've talked quite a bit.
well, yeah, but just a little bit, not
Well,
a
I
lot.
think we text more than talk.
Yes, that's true. So I'm just really grateful that you were available this evening and okay to come and chat with me.
Geez, my heart just feels like it's gonna beat right out of my chest right away. I'm so not a people person or an interview person or
Oh, well, let me just put it this way. This is I never usually do interviews. I do conversations because honestly, that's all this is a conscious conversation. And that's why I get a lot of folks that feel that way. They don't want to be on video because they know it's going to be on YouTube or whatever. And honestly, it's just a conversation. We're just folks having a conversation. It's just that luckily we have folks that can join the conversation from all over the world should they decide to. And just so everybody knows, I can see the chat. So if you have any questions for Jason, you can put them in there. And
no pressure. No
yeah,
pressure
no,
on me now. I gotta answer questions.
well, you don't have to. You can always say
No,
no.
it's all good. It's all good.
Okay. Well, I just for posterity's sake, I want to put that today's date is Friday, June the 27th, 2025. I usually like to when I used to just watch videos on YouTube, I always wondered, well, when was this recorded? And so I decided when I started my own channel that I would generally put the date in. But for some reason, I haven't been doing that with your writings, except a time or two. I have felt nudged to actually give the date. And because of the fact that I follow all my nudges, I have done that. But generally, when I'm recording your writings, I don't feel to give the date, which is very interesting.
I
I
noticed that because when I listen to you like usually when I'm driving, like I do a lot of drive. I work in construction, but I during the day like I end up like I well right now I'm on a project that's probably about 40 minutes away from where I live. So I have that 40 minutes in the morning and I have the 40 minutes at night. And then I really don't like I don't watch TV and I don't listen to the radio or anything like that. And I listen to basically, because I mean there's so many recordings. I think I counted them a while ago. I think I don't even know if you're keeping track of them,
Oh, I'm
but I
not.
think we're probably like pushing close to 70.
Really? I did
Yeah.
not know that.
I took a count a while ago, and I'm pretty sure we were are over 50.
Oh,
There's over
okay.
50 already, and to be honest with you, I've been looking at like kind of a magic number, like of recordings, because I have something else. A lot of people have been kind of pushing me to, publish a book. And what I was thinking of is when I first started talking to you, like you had mentioned that you had a list, and we'll back up a bit, and we'll I guess talk about how me and you even kind of came into each other's orbits, because it's a really interesting story. And I just want to start too by saying like how appreciative I am of you and doing what you're doing. It's absolutely like it's phenomenal. It's so phenomenal. I can't even describe it. Like it's just. Maybe we'll back up there right now, and we can just, I don't know if anyone's watching or anything, but we can back up there right now. So I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 6 weeks ago now, maybe around six
Yeah, I think it
ago
was
now.
at least 6 weeks. I think you're right. About 6 weeks ago,
Six
it
weeks or
was,
2 months.
yeah.
We're
Yeah.
gonna be pushing up on the 2 months. So I'm a writer. I mean, I'm a writer. I'm a writer. I mean, that's not, I guess, I don't know if I'd say it's my hobby. I really don't know how to describe it, because I just can't really describe what I do. But I mean, on my Facebook profile, it says the other day, like it says writer. And the interesting thing, even with that part is, even when I was in high school and other points in my life, a lot of people, really pushed me towards writing. And I've always been a writer and a reader, and I did lots of drawing as a kid. And I mean, writing, I've written, some pieces that you've read, that get more in depth about me and why I chose writing as an outlet. I mean, at some point, writing turned into something else that almost killed me at one point in my life. But now I'm 50. I'm almost 51, and it's back. And I'm grateful for it. And sometimes I think it's honestly it's a curse. And because the amount of content that I can produce in a day, like you even say yourself, you can't keep up. Try being me,
Yeah, I
because
bet. No, I can.
try being me. Like this is already my notes I have, like just from the 2 minutes we've been on the video here, or whatever. But so maybe I'll back up a little bit even further. So I always had this idea in my head that I wanted to write a book, and I've started this book. I probably first started writing down titles to the book maybe at around 12, maybe a little bit later. And then there was a time probably when I was around 16 that I really was set on a title of a book. I was going to call it The Autobiography of an Unknown Teenager, was my title. And I always started it off, the first paragraph is it all started on this, beautiful autumn day in September of 1974 in the city of Bridges in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm a Canadian. I don't live there now. I live in Manitoba, but it would always start off, and I'd be looking at, like old newspaper clippings and stuff like that to kind of see what was going on in the world. And then it never did anything. And then I put together, a few table of contents over the years and whatever, and I have everything kind of filed away and written down on notebook or notepads and just blank loose pieces of paper, and it never really got anywhere until January of 2024. January 1st of 2024. I don't know what happened to me that day. But I mean, something really spoke to me, I guess would be the words. And I said to myself, or something said to me, that I was going to be writing every day for the next 365 days straight. And I really didn't think I could pull it off. And I mean, it's a real big undertaking, I guess. It's a very mentally draining, uh, mentally exhausting undertaking. But I started, and just everything started pouring out of me that I'd been kind of saving in my mind since my earliest recollections. And it just started coming. And then once it started coming, then it like turned up the dial a little bit. It starts at like one, slow. And then and then it hits 10, and then it hits hyperdrive, and then it doesn't stop. Like it doesn't stop. I mean it slows down sometimes for me, but I mean it doesn't stop. So anyways, I concluded my book in January 1st of 2025. It was finished. I think I sent you a video actually of
Yeah, you did.
I sent you a video of the book, and it's a one of one manuscript. It's all on paper, it's all in plastic sheets. It's about I think my last count was it was pushing close to around 700 pages. It's basically everything you can think of under the sun. And so what I would do is I would publish my work on my personal Facebook profile because honestly, like just so I'm on a personal computer right now. Okay, I don't use like honestly, Sheila, like this is how bad it is. I don't know if anyone's watching, but the last time I used really a computer. Okay, we were still using Windows XP. Okay. Okay, so I'm
Okay.
talking like around 2004. So we're talking 21 years ago. Like I know nothing about computers. I turned this computer on at home and it's got this big screen and I mean all these little icons and stuff. And I don't know, I have my boys here for the weekend and my oldest boy actually has a degree in computer science. He's 25, and then my two youngest boys are here. One's 17 and one's almost 14, I guess. And my 14-year-old boy, he's a big computer kid. And then obviously my oldest boy with being in computer science, whatever, he's a pretty impressive kid too. And so I knew I was getting close to the conclusion. I mean, it started, and then after I got into it, and I kind of found my rhythm or the flow. And some people know what I'm speaking of when I talk about the flow state. And just kind of a way it went, and it basically assembled itself. And then right around probably things slowed down at work for me around the middle or around the early December of 2024. So I had some extra time off and whatever, and I started thinking to myself, well, something started speaking to me because that's really how it works. And I said, well, I got to get this out of, the digital, and I have to get it on paper. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? Okay, because I don't know, because everything's on my phone and my notes and whatever on digital. And then as I was creating, what I would do is I would post it on my Facebook profile because that way I knew where it was located. Like I don't know, I couldn't even really tell you like how to, use Microsoft Word anymore or anything like that. I couldn't do it. And that's just the way that I am, and I save things the way that I do. Like I write a lot, and most of my, archive, I guess you could call it, is located in the Ancient Order of the Hermetics Facebook group because that's the only place I post and publish is there. And it's been really nice like hearing the videos and whatever. But I mean I started writing it. So I took about so after the book was completed, okay, so I'm gonna back up a bit. I'm a scrambled mess usually when you're talking to me, so yeah, I'm gonna be all over the place. So back in December, I was trying to figure out, how I was gonna do this. So I knew I had everything saved on my personal Facebook profile. And I don't know anything about anything really when it comes to anything digital. I mean, I mean, I'm from another planet, okay? Well, I no, I'm not. Well, I mean, I could be. I mean, I don't know. At this point, I just don't even know anymore. But I figured at the point where I was getting near my conclusion that it would be easy just to go back and pull the posts and I was gonna try to figure out how to get them because I use my phone. I was gonna try to figure out how I was gonna do this. Okay, was I gonna copy it off Facebook and then email it to myself and then I would have and then print the emails? Like I couldn't figure it out. And we got an office here at the house and I'm looking at this new printer, and I mentioned it to you before, and I got this printer here that, can print about 2 or 3 thousand pages on these ink tanks, and it's not those little cartridges anymore. And I was
Right,
looking at that, and for some reason, I just looked at it one day, and then I seen it said Wi-Fi capable on this printer, and
right,
then like almost immediately, like I mean, I had figured out. It was a very time-consuming process because it probably took me about, I'd say between 5 and 8 hours a day for about 3 weeks to print the entirety of my work in onto paper of that
no,
book. And the book
I'm
is
not
called,
surprised at that
and
because that's
the book is called Fragments of the Mind, A Journey Through the Soul by Jason Gray. That's the book. And it's funny because it's in a 3-inch binder and I like and when I did the cover page and whatever, I mean I tossed around a few different ideas, but all my ideas as I was coming to the final cover page I have, so on the front of the binder it has like a plastic sheet where you can slip paper in there or whatever. So underneath the final copy I have like all the like where it started and where it evolved to in the end. And it was kind of funny because when I get to the end, like something speaks to me and says, like, this is it, like you're done. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. And then as I started assembling, and doing the printing and then putting everything in plastic sheet protectors, and I mean, I'm running the flipping staples. I need another 100 sheet protectors, and I mean, everything's printed single sided, and I mean, it's a lot to construct this manuscript, which is probably close to 700 pages. And I mean, I've worked on some other writings. I have lots of binders, and I have lots of other, writings that I've done over the years. I used to sit at a typewriter probably back around, I'd say probably 2002, maybe 2000. Like I got my hands on a typewriter. I mean, I didn't even have internet or anything back then, and I mean, but I mean, I'd always like kind of typed and I've written, but I mean, I got bins, in the basement with a lot of my work and stuff like that, and I haven't really gone searching for them yet. I know at some point that I will. But anyway, so the book concluded. I put it all in the binder. I got it finished, and I thought, holy shit, like I just wrote a book. And you know what? It was always on my, it was like a big, like I said, since the time I was about 13 and I'm 50. So I mean that's what, how many years is that? 35 plus years. I've wanted to accomplish this and I can say, mission accomplished. And I never said I want to publish a book. Like that's not ever what I said to myself. I didn't say I ever want to publish a book. I said I want to write a book. And for me, the book, if it was ever to get kind of deconstructed, there's probably another 1,000 books that could come out of the book that I wrote. Another 1,000 books could come out of that one book, if you understand what I mean. Like
yes,
the information in there, I mean, it's a archive of knowledge of some type. I mean, it's wild. And I showed it, I sat down with a few of my friends and stuff like that, and I've shown a few people have actually seen the book. And most of the people that I trust to actually show the book to, they're just like, holy shit, like that they're just speechless. They're absolutely speechless. And I mean, I wrote the book, and even when I read it, I mean, I'm speechless because when I'm writing like this, I mean, I hear a writer's voice, as I'm editing and as I'm doing the things that I do, and I have to be, in this kind of state of mind. I don't know. Sometimes I've done some other work a number of years ago, and the only thing I can really equate it to is automatic writing. If you, and I'm sure you're well aware of what automatic writing is. And you know,
Yeah.
there was a time where I would say that, and I would say, "Oh my God, if I ever said this out loud, people would think I'm flipping crazy." But I'm at the point in my life now, I just don't care anymore. Like,
Good for you, because I feel the same
I
way.
don't care anymore. I mean, am I a clairvoyant? I mean, I really don't know. I mean, could I be? Absolutely. I mean, I've always had, a very unique connection with the supernatural and the occult and all sorts of stuff like that. And
Well, I want you to know that we are being joined by folks. We do have some folks that are watching us, and there's been some comments. Aubrey has joined us, and she said, I wasn't sure, or I'm not sure. I felt Aubrey as a feminine energy. I hope I haven't automatically offended. However, Aubrey said, I wasn't sure he was real, and you guys are both amazing. And, it then goes on to say, I'm glad to hear that he's writing a book. I can't keep up with the posts. I know how you feel, Aubrey.
no, I wrote a book. I wrote a book.
That's right. It's already the one that you've written. You did show that to me early
Yeah.
on in our Facebook calls that we've had, and I really I want a copy of that
I don't,
because
I really, I don't know what'll ever come out of copies of that book, to be honest
I
with you.
understand.
I've been looking at, so what I've been thinking about is I actually got approached by a lady that lives just outside of Edmonton, Alberta. Actually, it was kind of interesting because we're both in Canada. And she had made an offer. She's a self-published author. And like I said, Sheila, like honestly, if you were to ask me where the power button for this computer is, I probably couldn't even tell you. I mean, it's not even funny. Like, I mean, I am so old school.
No, I
But I
understand.
mean,
That's why I
but I
don't know.
use a state-of-the-art smartphone. Like, if you can figure that out, but to actually sit at a physical desktop like I'm at now, like I'm never on a computer, like
Right.
never. But I mean, for you, I'm on a computer
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
because I couldn't
it.
figure I couldn't figure out, but because I know I have to use Zoom for this other organization that I'm involved with. So I know I had Zoom set up on the house computer, so I knew when it worked and whatever. And we had some technical difficulties, but now everything's going good. But yeah, so I published the book, and when it was finished, I kind of took a bit of a hiatus, and I wasn't sure what to do because I mean. Well, I mean, I published the manuscript. It's a manuscript. It's a one of one manuscript, and I have another one. I did a pretty interesting codex as well shortly after that. It was probably I started working on it in
Is that the one you showed me?
yeah, that probably
I
yeah.
thought so
So
because I that's the one and even though I did, you just gave me a very brief look in the recording that you sent me. I feel there are just like with your what your words do for me. There are activations. I don't know what else to call them. I'm going to call them activations. That's why I said to you, I want a copy of that because I feel something in it, is what I'm
well,
saying.
there you want to know like absolutely there's something in it because everything I'm doing now originated from that. And the other real interesting thing is I can go back and look at timestamps of a lot of my stuff and I can see where I was writing back last February and I could see like I can look at a lot of I notice a lot of mimicry now and I'm not sure exactly what is going on. I kind of have a bit of an idea and but it's like wildfire. So I'll just go off topic here for a minute. So around after about 2 or 3 months, I guess my writings were, and none of this matters to me, but I find it interesting is I guess they were being viewed around between 10 and 15,000 times in 30-day cycles. And about a week ago, and I think I was around, it was being viewed at around 700,000 times a week ago. And then it hit a million. And right now it's over 1.5 million in 28 days. So I mean, I don't really understand any of these statistics and whatever. It just my phone shoots this stuff off to me and whatever. But I mean, obviously, people are reading. I don't do this, to bolster my ego. I'm not in this for fame or fortune. I really couldn't tell you why I'm in this, to be honest with you, but I'm in it. And it's something that I have to do.
Well, see, that's why, and I know what you mean by that because that is exactly why I asked you if you would mind. Normally, I don't ask when something is on the internet, freely available for anyone to find. I feel like, hey, it's free game. Anybody can look at it. I can record it, no big deal. But I felt I was nudged that and I promised when I started on the quest to get to the truth of who I am, and that's basically what I've done over the last 8 years. I promised myself that I would follow all of my nudges, even if I didn't understand what I was being asked to do. I would follow them. And I was nudged to ask your permission. And and that whole thing of asking your permission, you and I both know that that was there was a lot of synchronicity involved in that. And I feel as though that is exactly why I was nudged to ask your permission because you shared with me that you were thinking at that time about having someone record your work.
Well, yeah, because it's so funny, and I think I told you this. So there was a big change for me in my, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess my writing style. There was a pretty, interesting shift in there, and then it kind of came to me with the shift that it's being written to be recorded. It's being, it's being written to be recorded, like the way it's laid out and the way I edit and the way I do the
So
things
you had that feeling the
that I
way it
do.
was
So
coming.
so what my idea was is because I mean I'm just a nobody, right? I mean that's how the funny thing is that's how they hide us.
No, I
They
know.
they
I'm
they
aware.
hide us. They
Yes.
hide us as absolute nobodies. But I think, there's some people out there that, may know a little bit more than we do about who and what we truly are.
No, I know.
But yeah, they hide us pretty good. But so I had this idea because sometimes at work when things were slow at work or whatever, I'd start watching TikTok videos or I'd watch, reels on Facebook, and I mean just stupid
Right.
nonsense, mostly and laugh and share them with my buddies. I'm like, ha ha ha, look at this. But then some of the ones that I would see, there's some real pretty serious, like there's some pretty serious content out there that really, touches your soul and reaches into you and all sorts of stuff. Like I really I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but I don't know. There's a guy on Facebook, and I think his name's Zach something or other, and what they do is they go around and they help like less fortunate people. And he asks a homeless guy, for $1, and if the homeless guy gives him, his dollar and stuff like that, like he just changes these people's lives. And I thought to myself, like, boy, would I ever like an opportunity to be able to do something like that? Like, but I mean, I just get all teary-eyed. I mean, even though I'm in Canada, like I used to watch a lot of those like soldiers, U.S. soldiers returning home, but they don't tell anyone they're coming, and they like go
Right.
to their kids' school, and it's all like on the DL and whatever, and they
Right.
walk in, and their kids turn around, everyone's crying, and they're crying, and I'm sitting at home, I'm crying, like
Yeah.
it's just like real feel good stuff, like to know that there's still, as much as we think we live in this, world of darkness, which I mean. I don't know. I'm kind of reserved on that topic because I mean, if I turn on the TV, it tells us we do. Or
Yeah, I do. I
if I
don't.
turn on
That's
the
when I.
radio, and I've written lots about this. So I mean, if you want to go in deeper, than what this conversation that we're having now, like all my writings are out there. I mean, feel free to read and whatever. And I get messages like it's crazy. Like my phone blows up sometimes with messages in Messenger and I honestly I don't have the time now to get back to everyone, so I'm extremely busy. And but I mean I try to reach out, back to people. But anyways, so I was thinking about probably about 2 weeks before you contacted me and going back to the me watching those videos and whatever, I get sidetracked really easy. I got a pen
No
here.
worries.
I got a pen so I can take notes. But I started, so I was watching these ones, where they either have like Anthony Hopkins or Morgan Freeman. So I started thinking to myself, oh, this would just be so great if I could find a flipping program where I just loaded my story in or my writings into this program, and all of a sudden there's Morgan Freeman reading the writings of Jason Gray. I just thought this would be like the best thing ever. Like no joke.
And along comes me.
And then along comes Sheila. Like, I mean, never in a million years. And honestly, like, I think I looked at your message even at first. I'm like, I might have rolled my eyes and I'm like, okay, okay, like, what's going on here? But I know it was in a 2 week time frame when it finally clicked for me, especially, with my cadence change in my writing. And I seen it, and I even had people send me messages and say, "What's going on, Jason?" And I said, I really don't know. I said, but this is the way that it is now. Like this is the way. And
So
and
you're saying that that shift took place about 2 weeks before I contacted you?
well, it might have been a little bit longer. It might have been a little bit longer than that, but it wasn't very, you'd have to really go back through my writings because you can identify the shift like as things shifted. And but I think a big part of it was me, just starting to feel comfortable because I mean I've always, kept myself, closed off, very private. I didn't really, want anything to be known, but something just kind of pushed me and okay, it's time. Like it's time. And when the book started and when the book concluded was kind of like I guess the warm up. Maybe you could call it the warm up. And then I got into the codex. And then another big thing for me is I noticed I'll just come right out and say like I'm not a Christian. Like I'm a human. I'm a human. And I believe, that there's one race and it's the human race. And I see a lot of problems in the world that if I was, running the world as God or whatever, which I'm not, I mean, things would be a lot different than what they are. Because I see a lot of, I have a lot of compassion, for the addicted, the broken, the homeless. I mean, the destitute, the hurt, the kids, I mean, all sorts of stuff like that. It crushes me, some of the stuff that I see, and there's no need for it whatsoever. Like there is no need. Like zero. I say in the city that I live in, we have an NHL team here. And for 4 tickets to go see an NHL game, just for 4 tickets, probably about $1,200. And then add on your drinks and your food and this and that. And then, so where this NHL arena is located, we have, I think our arena holds around 20,000 people. So you can do the math just on the ticket sales and what they bring in the game. But so the arena is located in our downtown area, and the downtown area is pretty bad. And 4 blocks, about 4 or 6 blocks north of where that arena is, where people are going to spend, $1,500 on 4 tickets to watch some guys skate around and chase a puck for an hour. There's a homeless shelter, and you leave that game and you drive by this homeless shelter, and there's people lined all the way around the block looking for, a meal or a place to stay tonight. And I think to myself, like, this place just brought in $20 million, and we have people living in bus shacks. We have people living in bus shacks right out of the arena. Like it just boggles. It just completely boggles my mind. And I know this is going off track, but I think I've done like quite a bit of writing on that. And I think to get to where that I am today, like I had to, venture into, I mean, a whole myriad of different places in my life. Like I mean, I speak from experience.
Right.
I write from experience. I don't, I didn't go to university and learn things out of a textbook. I lived it. I lived it.
Right.
And I mean, and I didn't have an easy life by any stretch of the imagination. There was a long time that I thought like I remember, for a series of years, like even saying like when I'd go to bed at night, I'm like, hey God, like just take me in my sleep. Like it was horrible. It was horrible. And today, where I am today, I mean, all of this is what brought me here.
Yes.
And I understand it, from a way deeper perspective. And then now I can kind of put the pen to paper and do the things that I do. And I've read lots of comments like it touches people like what I do. And you can tell, it's really interesting because I see a lot of people, attempting to copy the fire, I guess you could say.
Well, I know that I know that I've heard others say some very similar things, Jason, and I have a very particular view of that. And actually, your writings, in my view, point to it. I'm a puzzle piece collector.
Oh, so am I.
I've been a puzzle piece collector all my life. And so for me, what I see is that, because I've seen this before, this is not something brand new that I'm seeing. I started suspecting it, uh, gosh, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Every single one of us on this planet channel information. We get information from elsewhere, the larger part of ourselves, right? That flame that you speak of in your writings. For me, that's what I feel it is. And because of everything else that you just spoke about, everything, every challenge, every hurt, everything that you've been through in your experiences creates an experiential filter in your being that channeled information comes through. So when you speak it, you are adept at allowing it to come through pretty unfiltered, but not everybody does.
No,
And,
and I
and
agree with that. And the thing.
right, and
Oh,
as flame, as flame, for me, I don't know that I'm speaking to it properly, but what I've seen is as people begin to remember, um, they pull it out of themselves in differing ways. And you could be correct. I'm not saying
but
that.
I've gotten to the point now that I honestly like I think like I remember I was heading out to somewhere into a valley, into the woods. I try to spend a lot of time in nature now. And I mean I like to be around water and old rocks and trees and stuff like that for some reason over the last couple of years. And I was listening to you and I we actually texted when you had done the reading on the others. And and I texted you I think before I had actually finished completely listening to your broadcast of the others. I think I'd heard something that triggered me. I'm like, I'm texting Sheila right now. I'm only 5 minutes into it, but I'm gonna text her. I'm pulling over and I'm gonna text her. And I think I did. And you spoke. I remember like one thing's coming to mind right now is you spoke of some of the struggles you had with your weight and the way people treated you. And I can say too, in my life and some of the struggles I had other struggles, but I mean, I could completely relate to the way that people treat you. But one thing I can say now, and I don't know if people will agree with me or not, but this is what I see. I see people now, and the only way I can describe it is they have dead eyes. They have dead eyes. Like, I mean, I look at their eyes and I'm telling you, they are black. They're black. And I'm not stupid. And I
Well,
mean, when I see something like that, okay. Do we have a long time to talk here? I mean, 'cause this
oh
could
yeah,
probably go on for
honey, we got,
this
listen,
could probably go on for a few hours.
we got as long as you're willing to chat with me, because I want to be respectful of your time. But oh
Oh no,
yes, we have
I'm
plenty of
good.
time.
I'm good. What time is it? What time is it where you are?
It's 10:26 where I am. I'm in the
Okay, so you're
Eastern
an
time
hour
zone.
ahead. You're an hour ahead of me.
Right, right.
So just by mentioning that, I'm gonna tell a little quick story here. So
Okay, and when you're done with that, I want to share with you my take on what you're seeing.
okay, I was with my ex-wife for I'm divorced. That's how I get to be me again. That's how I get to be me again. I was with my ex for, I guess I was married for 22 years. I have three incredible boys with her. At one point I could probably say lots of bad about her, but we've been divorced now for a few years and apart for a little bit longer than that. I really can't say anything too bad about her because she is the mother of my children, and we had our differences, a lot to do with COVID and vaccinations and stuff like that, and it is what it is. But I had to let go of, because I'm a kind of person, where I can't really afford to have resentment or anger in my life at all, like at all, zero. Like, I want quiet, solitude, peace. I have the perfect, career even for that. I'm a crane operator, so I mean, I'm sitting in a crane. I don't have to deal with, really much of anything other than a two-way radio telling me what to do. So I mean, I'm in peace most of the day, except when I get wound up, and I can get wound up pretty easy. But I'm gonna tell you a quick story because this is what makes me think of it. So me and my ex-wife were dating, and this would have been we were maybe dating for about a year or so, and one of my parents' friends had passed away, and they lived in a town in Saskatchewan called Star City, Saskatchewan. And my father actually used to own a furniture store, and my little brother was born in a small town in Saskatchewan called Melfort, Saskatchewan, and I was born in Saskatoon, and I grew up in Saskatchewan. But so we were at this, so we went out there for this funeral, and the friend of my parents' kids were there, and we were all the same age. We were maybe like 19 at the time. And they said, well, let's go to the bar for a few drinks in Melfort. So I said, yeah, okay, we'll go to the bar. So me and my ex-wife, who was my girlfriend at my time, and their kids, we jump in this car and we take off to the bar in Melfort. And I mean, it's a one, two, three horse town at best. So we pull into the bar parking lot. There's like 100 cars there. Okay. I'm like, okay, well, something's going on at the Melfort, Saskatchewan bar. And I see this sign and it says on the outside, and it's in lights and whatever, and it says tonight hypnotist. And I was like, hmm. But I can tell you this, like, I like to call it my spidey senses. So my spidey senses started, like, we parked, we got out of the vehicle, we started walking towards the door of the bar, and I'm telling you, like, my spidey senses are like just going 100 miles an hour.
I
Something
bet.
off. Something's off. And I really couldn't I really didn't understand what, but something was really like telling me something was wrong. But I also have the ability, to kind of push through that and just continue going towards the danger or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So we walk into this bar. It's dark. It's full of people. We walk in, we sit at the back. We order a couple drinks and whatever. And this guy, this is the only way I can describe him. So he was tall, skinny. And I've said this to a few people because I've talked about this experience. with a few other people, and I said, I always use this. If he was wearing cowboy boots, I said if he took his boots off, he would have had hooves. That's what I felt. If he took his boots off, he had hooves. This guy, like that's like he was darkness. And I mean, I'm a really good, reader of energies and stuff like that, but this guy it was dark. But I mean, so he's doing his little production and whatever, and he's talking on a big PA system, and I'm running script of my own through my head so I don't start listening to his suggestion because I know what's happening, right? So my,
Right.
I guess, natural instincts is to counter and do this and that. So
Right.
my ex-wife, or my girlfriend at the time, who was my ex-wife, she gets up, so he's pulling people out of the audience. He's like, hey, you. He's got 10 chairs set up on an elevated stage. Okay, 10 chairs in a row.
Right.
He's pulling people up and whatever and doing his thing, and then like the hypnotist music's going and whatever. And my so he gets the people up there on the stage. There's 10 people, and my ex-wife gets up and she says, I have to go to the bathroom. So you got to remember, like we're way in the back corner away from the stage. So I said, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm chatting with the people that I'm with and having a couple beers or whatever at the time. And she gets up and leaves to the bathroom and he's doing his little thing on the stage. And then he says, 10, 9. Okay, he goes, I'm going to put you all to sleep or whatever the hypnotist does. He's like, okay, I'm going to count down from 10. And when I hit snap my fingers, you're all going to be out. So he's like, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, snaps his fingers. Everybody on the stage just goes like this. About 2 minutes, 3 minutes later, the security from the bar walks over to where we're sitting. And I won't say her name, my ex-wife's name. And they said to me, they said, "Are you Jason Gray?" And I said, yes. They said, "Are you the boyfriend of so and so?" I said, yes. They said, "You have to come with me." So I'm like, okay, what's going on? So we walk out. So the bar had a set of doors where you come in. Then there was a hallway with the bathrooms, and then there was another set of double doors going into the bar. But the double doors going into the bar were open, right? That you didn't have to open, they were open. So once you went through the first set of doors, it was open shot right into the bar. So the security at the bar told me when this guy said one snapped his fingers, he said everyone went out on the stage, and my ex-wife fell right on the spot she was standing on the ground, out. The hypnotist had to come, but before so they had to stop the show. They had to bring him out there right away. But from the point of him getting there, okay, she was kind of propped up. And I will never in my life ever forget the hollow look in her eyes that I seen. Never. I will never ever forget it. You got to remember, I spent 25 years with this woman. Okay, 25 years. So I mean, I
Right.
know her. I mean, I know what she looks like. I know her facial expressions, whatever. So that was pretty much the first time I ever really seen it. The black eyes and stuff like that. That was the first time. And then unfortunately we got divorced during the pandemic over, a whole multitude of things. And but one of the things that had happened is because I'm not vaccinated, and I mean I have no problem saying that I'm not vaccinated, and I mean if you want to get vaccinated, that's your choice.
Yeah, that's right. That's the way I feel about it
I
too.
didn't want to get vaccinated, and then the whole thing with me is something told me absolutely under no circumstance do you put this in your body. It wasn't a choice I made. Something told me.
Right.
Something told me because
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into this on this show or really at all. It's done. It's over with.
Right.
But once all the propaganda and everything started that was going on with this, and I mean, all of a sudden, I'm an anti-vaxxer and I'm a whatever name
Yeah, I
they would
know. I
call me.
lost my
I have never in my life ever been so disrespected
no, I know.
by my friends, my own family, my oldest son. my ex-wife, my in-laws. I have never in my life ever been treated so badly. And I mean, I am one of the like I mean, I have a lot of people say I have a presence to me, like and I maybe then they say I can be very intimidating, which I don't mean I don't mean to be like I'm a pretty big boy. Like I mean I don't know what I look like sitting here, but I'm 6'3". I mean I used to be around, close to pushing 300 pounds. So I mean I'm a big boy. I was a big boy and thankful to say that I'm down to like 195 to like and
Well,
it
I got to be honest with you that so there's a lot of similarities that you're telling me right now between us, by the way. I too have been told all my life I'm intimidating. And it had nothing to do with my weight at the time,
no, it has to
but
do with your presence and energy.
and that's what I wanted to say. And it is the present. And I didn't even know that, by the way, then back when I was being told that, I had no idea that's what it was. But it is a matter of presence. And and because there is so much of the larger you front and center present. And that's what I wanted to share with you in terms of the eyes. Okay. So for me personally, I keep being shown over and over and over again that that forgetting that happens when we come here, there's a part of us that's not behind the wheel. I'm not surprised that you experienced what you experienced, in particular with that being at that bar. And for me, what I know is that if one is not present in their body running the show, there's all kind of other energy that's all too happy to run that
Absolutely. Yeah.
show.
Yeah. No, no, absolutely. And I mean, I've had like, I mean, we could probably sit down for a few hours and just talk about supernatural encounters. Like, I mean,
Right,
I've had experiences with the supernatural ever since I can
right,
remember. And it took me it took me a great deal of time to finally, accept the fact that I'm connected to the supernatural. It took, and the thing, but the biggest thing is for me not to be afraid and for me to respect the supernatural.
yes,
Because whether it's dark or light, it all deserves respect.
exactly,
And it deserves equal respect.
exactly.
So when I was kind of afraid of it as a kid, right, as I'm starting, to dabble in the occult and the things that I was doing, because I mean that was what my interests were, I scared myself. And then once my so what happened with me basically is I went in almost into sleeper mode from the time I was 20 till I was around 45. Like I mean, I was still a little active but nothing like now. And
Right,
I was playing house, playing husband, playing father, playing work 9 to 5, playing slave, playing taxes, playing, the PTA, and even though I wasn't in the PTA, maybe the Boy Scouts or something would be a better example. But I mean, I was playing a role that never was me. It,
right,
it never was me, and it finally came to a head, obviously for a reason, and it led me back to, get back into the things that are me. Writing, I mean, writing is a big thing, being out in nature. I mean, I married a city girl. I mean, I grew up in, in farm fields and by the river, in Saskatchewan. I mean, I come from farming family and whatever. My dad wasn't a farmer. Well, actually, my dad was a farmer. But I mean, he was never like with us as kids on the farm. My dad left the farm around 18 and whatever. But I mean, I come from farming background and I would go to my cousin's farms and spend summers out there and I mean
right,
lay out in the fields at night and watch the stars and the whole 9 yards. And my ex-wife come from the city. Like
right,
she's never had experiences like that and she was a city person. So basically I took, you know, everything that was me and I put it on a shelf for decades.
I think that happens a lot, Jason, with a lot of folks. I know it did for me. It was only after my 28 and a half year marriage ended that I realized, oh, well, wait a minute. Of course it didn't work out. I don't even know who I am. How in the world did I expect anybody else to have any idea who I was if even I don't know? And that is why I started out on that quest to get to the bottom of just who am I? Who are we on the planet in general? Because those are the big questions that while we're playing slave and worker and husband and wife and mother, that we don't ask ourselves because A, we don't have time. B, those questions are generally never something that we are encouraged to ask. It's not part of the program that, we are all conditioned from the time we're little.
Well, you're conditioned from the moment you open your eyes.
Absolutely. And so there's really no one to blame because we've done it to each other for eons upon eons. However, it was at that time I started waking up to that fact. And now I so clearly see that that is exactly what the actual point is on the planet, but not everybody. And so I love the way my housemate refers to it. When we come in here because of that forgetting, we have the opportunity to put the quarter into the game and get ourselves out of demo mode and begin to remember, to
Well,
wake up.
that's when the veil, that's where you get into the veil.
That's right. And the veils are in
Get into the
here
veil.
for me, I have found.
Yeah, now
Because I,
how exactly the veil works, I don't know. Like, is it a frequency that's broadcast? Like, I mean, I couldn't really get into a lot about that. I want to back up a little bit and just say one thing now that we've
sure,
talked about is I use the word flame a lot in my writing, and I've included maybe a few writings on it, and I've been flame is consciousness.
right. I agree.
But like if anyone's questioning, what flame is consciousness. And consciousness, you see that what really happened for me was if you look at the Bible and it talks in Genesis, in the beginning, God created all this stuff in 7 days, and you have all of creation in about 3 paragraphs or maybe, a couple pages.
Right.
Right? I mean, we created all this and here it is, it's on 2 pages. Don't ever question it.
That's
Ever question it. This is the truth. If you question it, you are gonna burn in hell.
that's right. I know.
Okay?
I know you're right.
Just you're gonna burn in hell if you ever question this.
Exactly.
I question.
Me too. I did
But
as
you
a
want to know
kid,
the you
even.
want to know the funniest thing is, Sheila, I was on such a God quest. My whole life.
Me too.
I was talking about this a while ago when I was 5 years old and I was living in Melfort, Saskatchewan. At 5, I'd get on my bike, okay, in this little town, and I would ride my bike to church by myself at 5 years old because someone told me that's where God was.
That we are so much alike because I wanted to be baptized at the age of 6 because I was told that that's what you had to do. See, and they sent the preacher to the house and everything, questioning me to make sure that I knew what I wanted. Well, I did, or at least I thought I did, because I wanted to know God. I wanted to be closer to God. But at the age of like 10 or 11, there were questions I had that not only could people not answer, but when they were answering them, they didn't make any sense. And then it got to, well, you can't be asking these questions. And I'm like, so yeah, no, see, there's a lot of similarities there between us. as far as all of
Well,
that is
well, yeah,
concerned.
and I mean that's the other thing. I used to get in trouble as a kid too, because I mean I used to get in trouble because I'm always asking questions.
Right. Same.
But like I used to get in a lot of trouble for it. I got into a lot of trouble. Like eventually I got to the point in school where I dropped out of grade 10. I went back. I'm a Red Seal interprovincial tradesperson now, and whatever in the trades is
Well,
my
I too, I will tell you, see this, that's another similarity that we have. I graduated at the age of 16 because they allowed 16-year-olds to take the GED with parental consent.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm convinced that that is part of the indoctrination that happens through schooling, because that's where all of it is memorization. A lot of the
But
puzzle
it's
pieces.
programming.
Yes,
It's totally
exactly.
and you see and I couldn't do it. And the funny thing is my middle boy, he struggles in school. He struggles. Oh, he has ADHD. We should be putting him on medication. We should be doing this. We should be doing that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, like, no,
No,
first,
I know, right?
because he's different. He's very gifted. Like, I mean, this is the kid at 5 years old that says, "Hey, Dad, let's go to the grocery store. Let's pick up sandwich meat and bread and this and that." For what? Well, he's seen a homeless guy down the street and he wants to go take him lunch.
Right. See, that's, yeah, that, well, and that's not the kind of thing that's rewarded.
Well,
I
no,
know
but you're
exactly.
dealing with, I mean, they toss terms around in the spiritual community, empaths and indigos and yada yada yada. And I mean, I've been down every road you can imagine. I've been down
Yeah,
every,
me too. Me too.
but I mean, the word that I have now is we're different. We're different.
Yep.
We're different from the mainstream. We're not the mainstream. But I just want to back up a little bit more because I'm trying to take notes here and I'm all over the place and I have this voice in my head just
You're
going.
fine. You're fine.
But I wanted just to back up one thing so we can kind of close one thing off here, and that was
Okay.
about the eyes. So when the COVID, so talking back to the hypnotist there and whatever, and when COVID was going on, when it started, I seen that look in my wife's eyes again, and I was with her for a long time, and whatever happened to her that night in Melfort, Saskatchewan, that hypnotist has completely taken her over again. And I not only see it, I've not only seen it in her, I've seen it in some close friends of mine. I've seen it in a few family members of mine. I've seen it in complete strangers at the store. I mean, I don't I mean, I can speculate, what I think that it is. Like at one time I would say, oh, they're possessed by the devil and they need an exorcism and whatever. I mean, that's not it. It's, it's way more than that. I'm not even going to get into, what I think that it is, but I mean,
Well, I
it,
will. I'll get into it because I've seen it myself. I know exactly what you're speaking on. And for me, what I suspect, and of course I can't prove it, but I suspect it. And my own child uh, went like this, got his eyes real big. He said, "Did I not say that?" He talked to his wife. He said, "Did I not say that? Did I not say that?" Um, we are frequential beings at our core. And if we are not wholly present, and there are lots of things that can take that presence out of the physical vessel, spirits, unfortunately, are one of them.
but
And
spirits are it's just a vibrational
no,
frequency.
I'm speaking on alcohol when I
Okay, yeah,
say
okay,
spirits.
okay, yeah.
There's a reason they called it spirits,
Yeah, yes, yes.
right? That is one of them. There's other things as well, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of times folks have portions of themselves that are unhealed and lean towards the darker side. And
Well,
a
absolutely. Yeah.
passenger, what I will call a passenger, rides with them in that sense. There are beings that gravitate towards those unhealed energies within the, I know because I've had them myself. I'm speaking on my own personal experience,
Yeah.
not just what I suspect, but I know how I have behaved in my lifetime when I was operating from a wounded position.
Yeah.
And I know that something else was running my show.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's the frequency that you tune yourself to.
that's right.
Like when you say spirits, like okay, so like I used to drink. I've done every drug imaginable under the sun. I've taken LSD at some points in my life, magic
I
mushroom,
have too. Yes,
smoked
I've done
pillows.
all of
I've
that
tried
myself.
DMT. I mean, the whole gamut of whatever. I mean, I have no shame in it. I'm 100% clean and sober today. I'm 100%.
Yep, same.
But one thing that I notice is when you say spirits, what that does is you pour this liquid into your body, and your body, runs at a certain frequency, whether you're eating, McDonald's every day, or you're eating Burger King, or you're eating healthy, or you're eating vegan, or you're eating this, everything you put into the vessel, I actually call it the meat suit. Okay.
Yes,
That's all it is. It's a meat suit that temporarily
right.
houses our energy. Okay.
I feel the same way.
And that's all it is. Like when they talk about the divine spark that enters us at the point of conception, I mean that's what they're talking about.
That's right.
I mean, everyone has, different takes on it, right? I know exactly what that is. I mean,
Right.
it's basically the gas in the tank.
Right.
And you get to run with it until the car breaks down, and then
That's
it's
right.
the scrap yard and whatever. But I mean, oh, my mind just like totally went flipping
No
blank.
worries. No worries. I just I feel as though that is what happens. I've seen it. I've had my first and second husband had passengers that would present themselves through their eyes. I watched their eyes physically
Yeah,
change. And so I know that that's why when you said that, I feel as though and that passenger was not always there.
no.
It was only when
They
either of
introduced
them.
it. They picked up the passenger like a hitchhiker.
That's right, exactly correct. Because if they're not willing to drive the vehicle with their presence, there is something all too happy to step in. And that is what happens. Both of those men were terribly wounded, terribly abused as children, and terribly wounded, but were not doing anything to see to the resolution of those wounds.
Well, they're
Because
carrying
both of them,
trauma loops.
say what?
They're carrying trauma, deep embedded trauma loops.
Exactly. Exactly. And I realize that that's not an easy thing to do. However, if one is in denial of said trauma and doesn't think that it affects them, those passengers are permanent just about and will take front and center at any given moment is what my experience has been.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, from my own experience, now do they know that that's a passenger? No, they don't. They just think it's part of their personality,
Yeah.
which I thought the same thing. Because if you're not present, if you're not really in tune with yourself,
Yeah.
you don't realize that something else has stepped in and is driving the show.
Yeah, you got to understand, Sheila, too. Like I know you've been through a lot, and I've been through a lot as well. And you have to understand that to get to certain points of discernment and whatever, like it's almost like these people, they go on these ayahuasca retreats. Okay, do you know what
Right.
those are?
Yes, I've heard of them.
You cannot buy you cannot buy your way in. I guess to the secret chamber or whatever you want to call it. They think you can bypass the path and go from the start. You pay $1,000, you go somewhere, you drink the brew, you do the ceremony, you pay the $1,000. So they think they can go like this from the start, bypass to the finish. Okay, you can't. It's really that
No, I
simple.
understand.
And another thing I'm going to say too is I truly believe we live in a multi-dimensional realm. We live in a
Same.
multi-dimensional realm because I'll talk about this. So I did LSD when I was in high school, and I might have done some LSD in my early 20s. And I remember very clearly, hallucinating on LSD, and you look at yourself in the mirror, okay, and your pupils are like your eyes are they're open so big that they're almost black, okay?
Yeah,
And you're hallucinating, but I mean, are you really hallucinating or are you seeing a different realm of existence that is here surrounding us that we can't see without the effects of the LSD? Like they talk about, and I've done lots of research into all sorts of crazy shit. But I mean, they talk about a lot about the human brain. It only operates at, say, at like 10% or 15%.
right,
Like there's 100% of something in here, right? There's 100% of it, but we only have access to 10, okay? Now, there's certain things out there where you can like take like I don't know, like some people may remember this, or even you might even know what I'm talking about. So when I was a kid, you used to go to did you ever have a store down there called Radio Shack?
oh yeah.
So you'd buy these, so I mean this is before video games and whatever. I mean we still have two channels and rabbit ears on the TV with
Right.
balls on them and ever
Exactly.
Farmer Vision. My dad's remote was, "Hey Jason, go change it to this to channel 2." That was the remote, right? But I mean,
Yeah,
you have these things where and I used to actually buy them, and they actually quite fascinated me as a kid. But you could build, you'd have all these wires on a circuit board, and it was like a box, and you could build like a transistor radio, or you could build something with this little speaker, and it would like chirp like a bird, like just like little projects, or you could build like a little AM radio with it, or whatever. So basically, that's how I think of the brain. And then what you can do is, certain things will take a wire from the 10%, okay, of that they say we use. I don't know what the exact number is, but they say we use a very low percentage.
right. I think it's about 10, is what they say.
So there's things out there where you can take basically a wire, you wire it into the 10%, right? Now you consume a substance, right? And you take that wire from the 10% and you plug it in at the 74% or the 90% or the 30% or the 55 or 53.5%. You get a different every time you plug it into a different spot, you get a different response.
Right.
So people are, and a lot of that has to do with your vibrational frequency. And I mean, I used to smoke tons of weed. I used to swear I was gonna smoke weed till the day I died. Okay. I used to swear this. I am gonna smoke weed until the day I die. So I can look at things from a weed smoking perspective and from a 100% stone cold, clean, and sober perspective. And the one thing that I noticed about the marijuana, and people can disagree with me all they want, because the people that I'll tell you this right now, the people that disagree with me, they can never get themselves sober long enough and clean long enough to prove what I'm saying is wrong. Okay, they can't. They,
Okay.
they, they can't go a year without the weed. They can maybe go a few days here and there or whatever. Okay, I'm talking long term, clean and sober. Okay, because the longer term clean and sober are, the marijuana lowers your vibrational frequency, which puts you into a different modes of thinking, and you think, oh, you're all enlightened. Let's listen to some Bob Marley on the beach and whatever. Sing Kumbaya by the campfire, and we'll talk about enlightenment and whatever. It's all bullshit. It is. I mean,
Right.
it totally is. Because, and then I'm speaking for myself, but I also have a community of people, I guess I'll call it, that are all clean and sober and whatever, and we talk a lot about different things, and they can all say, not when it comes to enlightenment. Every time I say the word enlightenment, I hear the voice in my head. It says, chop wood, carry water.
What now?
It says, chop wood,
Oh,
carry water.
yes, that's right.
Whenever I say the word enlightenment, I swear the voice says it immediately. Chop wood, carry water. What do you do before enlightenment? You chop wood,
Right.
carry water. What do you
Right.
do after? You chop wood and you carry water.
That's right.
No
Yep.
change.
There's no
There's
change. That's
no
right.
change. And I mean, it takes a lot to like all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're just like poof, like it's that simple. Like really?
Well, that's what I told you. That's one of the reasons why I've not really been all that popular in the spiritual community because I have my own take on all of that as well with because it feels as though not just that bypassing, but it's also, but see, I understand what happens when folks start seeking and you're still seeking from the outside, that it's real easy to get led off over here because we think that's what enlightenment actually is.
Well, I
And
mean,
and
I
for
mean, like,
me it's certainly not.
there's different phases of enlightenment. There's the
Yes.
$999 one-day phase at the retreat. Then there's the $5,000 3-day phase of enlightenment at the other retreat. Then there's the $10,000 phase of enlightenment in the jungle in the Cambodian rainforest retreat. A sense of enlightenment. Because every time I hear these words and I see this is what I see. Money, money,
I
money.
know. No, I know. I feel the same way, but that's what I'm trying to
This
say.
this
That's
is
not the
not
way
about
to it
money.
though.
This enlightenment and this knowledge and whatever has nothing to do with money. And you
No, that's right.
cannot buy it. You cannot buy it. I don't care who wants to come and challenge me. Come.
That's
Thank you.
I
Come
feel
and
the same
challenge me.
way. I feel
Come
the
and
same
challenge
way.
me. Because this is not something that can be sold and bought.
No.
And don't get me wrong, though. I understand people have to make a living.
Oh no, I get you. I feel the same way. I do. I understand
I'm the
too.
same way too. And if someone come up to me one day and said, "Okay, Jason, we've heard about this book that you want to publish, whatever," because another thing with the book is too. So when the book was completed, I sent off some samples because I started researching like publishing and this and that because I mean we're from the same generations or whatever. Like there was a time where
Right.
a writer was paid by a publisher to produce work. And I
Right.
mean there still is now with agents, but it's nothing like it used to be. Like it's nothing.
No, that's
So
right.
so I figured I still think with my old school mentality, so I'm gonna look up, some printing places that do like indie books and whatever and stuff like that, and it says, oh, submit here a sample of your work, and I'd sent out some emails and I sent out some letters and I sent out little snippets of my manuscript and whatever, and all of a sudden I started getting a few responses, and I was like, holy shit, like this is gonna happen, like I can't believe how fast this is. I've showed it to my friends. They're like, oh my God, Jason, this needs to be published. And I sent it to a publisher. Now they're sending me emails back, oh my God, Jason, we want to talk to you. And then I start talking to them. They say, I'll tell you what, Jason, here's what we'll do. We'll publish your book. You open your checkbook and send us a check for $50,000 and we'll publish your book.
Oh, you're joking me.
No, no, no. Me open my checkbook and send them a check and they will publish my book. Well, no shit.
God.
No
No,
shit.
no.
No, but I mean that's the way that it works. That's the way that things are now today.
Yeah,
Like
I know. I don't
And,
know
and
what
then
the hell
people, and
happened,
then
but there's
here's my other big mistake, Sheila. The other big mistake with my book is I'm still from. I wish I had a book. I have tons and tons of books here. Like such an avid reader, but I mean I have tons of books. But I wanted to. So it's in a manuscript form, okay? And like I said when we started this whole thing tonight, okay, I can't even turn on the computer. Okay, I can't. So
right.
another thing they say to me is this. So I take probably at least 200 hours of my time, 200 hours. I won't even, I've ran totals of my amount of time to construct the book. Like, I mean, it's into the thousands of hours. I mean, it's not just something that's done in 15 minutes.
Right.
It's a lot of
No,
work.
exactly.
It's a lot of work to do what I do. It's a lot of work.
No, I'm
And I
sure.
mean, and I know too, like you, I noticed you mentioned how tired you were after doing one of your recordings the other day. Like,
Yeah, but that's because you've got activations.
well, yeah, and I mean, try being the writer.
I know. I can
Writer.
only just
Because there's
imagine.
times, like, I mean, I swear to God, like my batteries are flashing like less than 1%. I mean, I have to stop. Like it sucks so much energy out of
I'm
my
sure.
soul, or out of the environment, or whatever, the aether or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
that it shuts me down, and I just all of a sudden I'm working and I'm just like out. like like
Yes.
oh, because I mean, for me it never stops. It never stops. I'll be standing by someone in a flipping grocery store. It's like I can read their thoughts, and all of a sudden I mean, and I carry, like, I usually do all my notes digitally on my phone and whatever, but I mean, I do carry on paper. I mean, the other day I was driving down the flipping highway and I started hearing stuff, and I'm like, I can't type, I can't drive at the same time. I mean, and I'm hearing it like it's clear, and I'm hearing it, and then I'm like, okay, like I need a paper, I need a pen. I'm driving, I'm like trying not to crash my truck, and I'm like writing the notes down like on a back of a receipt, and then I come home and I look at it, and I go from there with what it is. But there's lots of other times too, where I've lately, like, this is because this is such a, I'm not at the like I'm at maybe getting close to the fine tuning stage of things for me now, like how I feel I'm connected. Like it's adjusting the dials. I mean, it's adjusting the cadence, it's adjusting the punctuation, it's adjusting, like fine tuning. I know people are, listening. I know what's happening, with the world that we live in right now. Like we're undergoing a shift like that hasn't been seen in thousands of years. Like
That's right.
it's really happening.
No, it really is.
It's
I
happening.
can't. Well, see, that's another reason that I was nudged to reach out to you to record your work. I cannot simply read your work. If I were to sit and just read your work, it would put me to sleep. The only way that I can do that is to record your work. And that's a big sign to me that there are activations in it.
Well, absolutely. And you were the person to do it, because when I got your first, because at first I'm like, hey, who's this Sheila lady from where are you? You're in North Carolina or whatever. I mean, I don't
That's
know
right.
about him. You're like, oh, hey, Jason, I'm one of your groupies, like from the Order of the Hermetics and whatever. I want to record your work. And you want to know what it took me a while too, Sheila, to put the two and two together about my thoughts weeks earlier about the recording. And then all of a sudden, like, and then I'm like, and then I can't remember. Did we talk on the phone or did we text? Yeah, we might have spoke on the phone pretty quickly, I think, didn't we?
Um, I don't know if we did or not. I can't remember now. We might
But
have, but I think no, I don't think we actually spoke on the phone until after I'd recorded at least one. You told me in private message that you had just had, or maybe we did. I don't know. I don't usually give out my phone number to people I don't know.
well, I
But
have.
you, but you, I don't know. I felt comfortable doing that with you. And that's the other thing. See that I was nudged that it was fine, that I could do that, I don't know why, but generally I don't do that because I am on the internet and things do happen with folks who want to be, who ask for things that, don't seem to be all that nice to ask for.
Come on,
And
Sheila. People don't want pictures of your feet, do they?
I've not had anybody ask for pictures of my feet. No, but apparently there's somebody in this room that keeps saying show more, and I don't know what that's about. while we are at a lull here for a second, I want to share with you a couple of comments that have come in. Aubrey said he is so interesting, not sure what the other people on here are talking about, kind of creepy. That's what she was talking about with the guys that were asking for show more. And somebody said something about chest size. I tend to ignore those kinds of comments.
You can't kick those people out.
Yes, but I generally don't, because
I wouldn't even hesitate for a second.
well, I generally don't, because it just doesn't, it's not, listen, here's the thing.
No,
Maybe their
no,
vibrational come up.
no,
No, you don't think
no.
so? Well, at any rate, Aubrey said, I worry about being shut down by the powers that be if you ask too many of the right questions. Well, that did happen to me, Aubrey. My first channel was taken completely offline. Julie Wise has joined us, and she said, Jason, thank you for your work. I agree with Sheila in that it has changed me. I don't know how yet, but it has changed me. And Aubrey actually, I guess, had to go, said, thanks so much for what you guys are doing. Hope to find this again. I wish I could listen forever. Well, Aubrey, if you subscribe, you'll be able to come right back to it. You'll be able to find the channel. And um, trust me, there's plenty to come, because when I see the title, that's the other thing with your work. When I see the title, I know I'm to record it. So I save it uh, in my phone so that I know that one is to be recorded. Now, here's the interesting thing. I'm not always nudged to record it right then. I just know it is to be recorded. And so
Like
I,
the 222 recording.
that's right. And I have noticed that there is something going on, and I think it has to do with my level of my frequency and my own activation, because not only does my voice activate others and amplify things. That is one of the things that I was told internally,
Oh, I agree
is
100%.
right, that's something that my voice does, but it activates me as well. My own voice activates me. So I don't, that's the other thing, Jason. I do not read your work until I'm recording it. Because I can't. It'll shut me down. It'll put me asleep. If I just try to sit and read it by myself in my head, it puts me to sleep. And I think that there's a twofold for that, because there's something in it for me that in many ways my conscious mind cannot comprehend unless I'm speaking it. And since I have to speak it, I just wait and record it at the same time,
Yeah.
because I'm activating myself, and I've already been made aware that I am a translator for many. I know that I amplify for myself. My one of my partners, which I believe she's here. I saw her uh, saying something earlier. Crystal Hemphill is one of the collaborators on the New Light Streaming Love channel. That, if you guys haven't noticed, Jason's writings live on both of those channels, New Light Streaming Love and here on Sassy Seer Sheila. And so I highly recommend that you're subscribed in both places. That way you won't miss a live, because I don't always do lives. I can't stream on both channels at once unless I'm doing it from StreamYard, and I can't use StreamYard and Zoom. I'm just not
Well,
able to do
maybe
that.
sometime here soon, Sheila. Like I can see like a big set, and like those like what are those green
The
things
green screen.
that green screens and the whole 9 yards, like infomercials, like
Well, I know, because I've been
oh
shown all of that myself, which is why the original channel was called Conscious Conversation Central, because it was supposed to be an entire network, is what I was told, that eventually,
It is an entire network.
well, that's what the
It
original
is.
channel was
Yeah,
named.
but it is. You know, it's funny.
Yes, you're right.
Funny you mentioned that because I was actually I remember now with you talking about that. I was driving. I don't know where I was heading. I was on the highway going swimming in some obscure creek or river somewhere or something. I remember listening to you talk about how you had these, big ideas about being viral or going viral, and you told this to yourself and whatever. You know, the first thought that came to my head was,
But
it's not in your time.
well, see, that's what I mean. But my inner guy, well, but see, I know with all of me that whole thing had to happen in just the way that it did.
It's still
Because
happening. It's
no,
still
I know, but
happening.
I'm just saying the way that all of that went down for me went down to show me just what I said to you before. That is how everybody gets information and very well may misinterpret it or interpret it in varying different ways, because my guidance was not wrong. Just because my name is Karuna, I thought I was going viral on my little YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But that is not what I got, because in 2017, nobody could have known that coronavirus actually was going to go viral in 2020.
Yeah.
I got that information, but I thought it was me.
Yeah.
My little ego thought it was me, not that there was going to be some virus with my last name. And so I also feel with all of me that that was an important thing for to have happened to me, because it let me also know that from what I was being shown, because I keep being shown this same exact thing. A lot of people are getting the same information. They are remembering things, and it's coming through the experiential filter, and it comes through the distortions and the programming and the conditioning, because we all had it.
And I agree with you, but the one problem that we have now, and I wrote something today. I can't remember the name of it. It's called like the final goodbye or something like that. As we're as we're undergoing this. Well, I'll just call it what it is. It's a reset. It's
Yeah.
just a reset, and it's happening, and it's coming. It's a reset.
Oh yeah. No, I know.
And I'm
I know
not going to
that's
say,
true.
Klaus Schwab and the WEF is behind it. It's way above that. It's way
No,
above.
I know.
Like
That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
going to tell you a quick story here, and then I got to run. So this is
Okay.
the story.
But let me just ask you this before you tell your story. You will come back and do this with me again, yes?
Yeah, I'm sure we can talk. I mean, it took you a while.
Okay.
I'm sure. Yeah, because I think we definitely have more stuff to talk about. Like it's good for me, to get on here because I think a lot of people have doubts that I'm even real. And I'll tell you this, I'm
Well,
real as
obviously,
the day,
because
I'm as
somebody did say
real,
that.
I'm as real as the day is long. The real deal.
No, I know you are.
And
That's what I think it was Aubrey said. I think it was Aubrey. Aubrey, didn't you say that you were wondering if he was real? Somebody said very early on that they were wondering if you were real. Yep, it was Aubrey.
so I'm gonna tell you a quick little story here, and then I'm gonna run. But yeah,
Okay.
we'll do this again at some point because there's still a lot of stuff that I think that should be discussed. That
Okay.
I don't have a problem with discussing. I mean, for anyone that's been following my ratings, like I think since February in my latest, archival depository, which is a Facebook group, I think I probably have something around 800 pieces in there now, maybe close. I know that the Facebook there gives a count of, number of published items.
Well, and if anybody here is not familiar, Jason, I have said it a time or two in the recordings that I do on the playlist on both New Light Streaming Love and on Sassy Seer Sheila. In the description of the playlist is a link to the ancient hermetics.
The ancient order of the Hermetics.
Right.
I'll do two stories. Okay, I'll do two stories. So
Okay.
I'm gonna quickly run down the story of how I even got involved with the ancient order of the Hermetics quickly.
Okay.
So I had been doing some reading and some researching, and I came across this Facebook group, and I kind of peered in there, and I seen a lot of me in there, I guess, kind of, or things that I could relate to. And me being a writer and me coming off of just finishing my first like 700-page manuscript. And I mean, I was still kind of in like allowing my brain, to kind of piece itself back together after that undertaking. Because I mean, when I remember, I guess, kind of logging out when something said to me, okay, it's finished. And I remember I mean just even constructing the manuscript on paper, and then I find out too, Sheila, like the worst part was is when I was talking to a publisher, they're like, oh, well, it has to be on a PDF file and it has to be this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's in a binder on paper. They're like, sorry,
Don't you dare
like,
send that
no,
original
no,
out
they're
somewhere.
like no, sorry, sir. You have to and then as soon as they said, oh no, it has to be this and that, and that's where their big price tag for publishing comes in. Because now they need the binder, they got to transcribe everything off of the paper and do this and do that. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. Pardon my language. YouTube's gonna shadow ban you for my bad language. So what happened was is I was just kind of coming back to, and I came across this group, and I can't remember what happened, but I had some stuff I'd kind of been working on a little bit, and I seen like people posting on there and whatever, and I've never really been one to do that kind of thing, really. I mean, other than on my own personal stuff, because I've always kept like the writing side of me like very confidential, I guess would be maybe the word, or private. I didn't really, I wasn't ever seeking any type of a spotlight or anything like that. That's not what I'm about whatsoever. But
Right.
something um you say nudged, I guess we can use that word, to post. And then I noticed that I couldn't get my posts published, and they have all this because I'm on the admin team of the group now. And it's funny because the groups, I think it's pushing around 700,000 members or something like that. So I mean, there's 700,000 people there. So just imagine
Right.
going into a room and there's a building and there's 700,000 people. Like there's a lot. So I
Right.
posted a few things, but they use something called AI Admin Assist, because actually the page has like the traffic running through that page, like it's in the millions. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of comments and people wanting to post every day. So like an AI admin assistant, screens everything for keywords and this and that. Because I mean, if you just left it open, it just turns into a total shit show. You got people posting porn, you got gambling sites, you got everything under
Right.
the sun. So I mean, it's very tightly controlled. I mean is a good thing. So all of a sudden one day from the administrator, I got a message, and he said, I've heard a little bit more background to the story now, like over the last few days, about how I got involved with this and whatever. And I'm thankful to be a part of it. And I mean, it's a great team there. I'm sure, sometimes we have our creative differences, but I mean, we're all there, I think, with the same purpose in mind, which is to try to, I don't even know if awakening is the right word, but just to try to share, knowledge, and if it does something for you, it does something for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, I know what I truly believe is happening and coming. I mean, it's coming. Like there is no doubt. And but you want to know the funny thing is when I say that too, Sheila, I've been saying that since I was 20. You know what I mean? I've been saying that for 30 years. It's coming. It's this week. It's
I
next.
know that's what that's
It's
what
coming.
my housemate is
Like you
saying
want to know
too.
the funniest thing, like Y2K, okay? Y2K.
Right.
Like I mean I'm with my ex. She's only my girlfriend at the time. We're living in this apartment. I swear to God, you walk in, Sheila, okay? I had water stacked. Okay, water
We
stacked.
did
All
too.
the walls, okay, was my fortress of water bottles. But I remember being like out on like about, and I mean I live in Canada, so I mean we get cold, harsh winter, okay? So everyone's scared the power is gonna go out. I remember being in flipping Walmart. This is in 1999, December of 1999. I walked into Walmart and there's like this 60-year-old lady with a whole shopping cart full of those little green propane cylinders. I'm like, what are you doing with it? Because I needed some, and she had them all in this cart. Because I mean, I was stockpiling them too. Because the power's gonna go out at the strike of midnight. It's finished. It's over. And I mean, and I mean, I remember being out at 11:50, and I mean, I'm listening to the. Do you know who Art Bell is?
Yes, of course. Yep.
I'm listening to the. I mean, I'm a faithful Art Bell listener. Like my uncle got me into listening to Art Bell, like probably like I don't even know how old I was. Like I started listening to Art Bell probably when he started coming on the radio. I almost feel embarrassed to say that, but I was just down in Vegas in October. We were down there for a vacation, and I actually the coolest thing is so one of my options one day was we could have either went to the Grand Canyon, okay, or Area 51. So, of course, where does Jason Gray go? I mean, we're going to fucking Area 51. Like, I mean, I was stood right at the gate, the north gate in Rachel, Nevada, right at the gate where the fences and the signs and the cameras and everything of Area 51. I couldn't believe like that has been like my one of my like as stupid as it is. Like, I mean, as a child, like I mean, I was always fascinated with space and aliens and the whole nine yards.
Same.
And I know there's also, and we won't get into it this time, but there's also like I mean, maybe we're gonna be the next Art Bell. Like it'll be Jason and Sheila. But
Okay. I'm
but
all right with that.
but I mean to stand there and I mean and to listen to this stuff like as a child and to actually like have the opportunity and I mean it's not really a huge thing probably for most, but I mean I don't have all these unnecessary means to travel and whatever. And I mean, it's a once in a lifetime for me to go there, like to turn onto the extraterrestrial highway. And I mean, to be in Rachel, Nevada, like the little alien cafe. And I mean, to be at Area 51, like,
Right.
it's all about like, I mean, just seeing all this alien stuff around there and whatever it was really it was an incredible experience like for me to go there. But back to the group there quickly was so I get a message from an admin. I'd submitted a couple so I just finished my book and I said I was pretty much done writing. Like I'm done. Like it's I don't want to do this anymore. It's just it takes way too much out of me. And I said, so I'm done. And then about a month or two went by and I don't know, it's still happening. And it never shuts off. Like it shuts off sometimes, but I mean for the most part it's just always going. And but I mean now I'm at the point that I can kind of turn it off. And you know what I'm talking about, I'm sure.
Right.
Like
Right.
I can kind of turn it off, but if I want it on, I can turn it on like and I can adjust the speed, I can adjust the volume, I can adjust the color, I mean I can adjust the vertical hold, I can adjust. So I mean which is kind of interesting, but one of the admins reached out to me and he says, "Hey, would you like to be a moderator of this Facebook group?" And I noticed some of your posts and whatever, and I kind of hawed about it, and he says, and then he said to me too that, it basically gives me like free reign of my post, not having to go through AI admin assistance and I can just post whatever I want basically. I can free agency to post. And I mean and I gave it some thought and I thought to myself, like maybe this is the time. Like this is the time where I show the world who I am. And
So I do have one question. The book that you showed me, that is something completely different from the posts that you've
well,
got.
I mean, it's basically like the prequel almost. Like
That's what I thought.
it's almost like
Right.
Star Wars one. Star Wars the Empire Strikes
You're
Back.
killing me. You're killing me.
Jedi.
You're killing me with that. I can't. the synchronicities between us, I was just telling my housemate that I just yesterday recorded, I got the nudge to record a whole bunch of stuff about the way.
The
And
forest.
well, but we were also nudged in this household to watch the Star Wars stuff in timeline order, because on Disney there you can watch it in order of linear order, not how it was released.
Yeah.
And right now, I just the other day we started The Mandalorian, and the Mandalorians talk about the way. And that's the synchronicity for me. Just another
There's
of
no such
many.
things as synchronicity.
No, there's no such thing as coincidence. There's only synchronicity. And for
Well,
me,
I've gone into some pretty, I don't know if you've been really like over the last little while, like I've gone into some pretty deep and mysterious places. Because I mean, I'm the kind of person if you notice when you read a lot of people's writing, they're always in the physical 3D world. And I mean, the biggest question that I always had, and it was funny because when I did the codex over, I guess around a year ago or whatever, the one, well, I guess kind of the one was, I wanted to go past, you know, in the beginning was the I am. Because nobody can really seem to get past that point. They think that's like the beginning point of everything. And it was funny because I was having a conversation with my oldest son one day and he said he didn't believe in God. And I mean, I don't, I guess, I mean, I really don't believe in God either. Well, like, I mean, I don't, that's not the right term. Like, I can't say that. Like, I mean, there's obviously something.
well, I understand what you mean though,
Like, there's
because
obviously something. But what I said to my son was, I said, from our limited human perception, I said, in order for something to exist in the 3D realm that we're living in, right? A thought is required to bring that thought into fruition. Like for us, for example, I'll use this as an example. Your mom and dad and my mom and dad had to think to jump into bed together one night, okay? And
that's
the
right.
end result of that is us. That microphone I'm looking at on your screen in your bed in your room in your house and your drapes and everything.
Right.
Someone had to have a thought before that ever came to be.
Exactly.
Now, and you can apply that to absolutely everything.
Yes, exactly.
Okay? So I've gotten into some stuff lately, where I'm into like I don't even know really what I'm into, but it's deep. Like it's
Well, and
it's really deep, but I've kind of I've gotten to myself to the point almost of an infinity loop. Like I'm at the point like I'm through the void. I've come to a wall in the void. I've figured out how to get through the wall in the void and walk past that into where consciousness dwells.
which I've
And
had
that's
that conversation with my housemate, and from my perspective, what I feel you're describing, what I've always referred to as source, has no persona, has no, it's man that assigned persona there.
well, no, but
That-
that's it. No, that's not correct either because you really got to get into it. It gets into some what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say like I almost want to say like metaphysical, but that's not even the word. You're getting into talking about like oh what's it called like astrophysics and all sorts of
exactly.
very high tech.
Exactly. There's nothing but I feel as though what I think it is and what you have been describing, the before the I am, is the same. I don't know why I feel that
Well,
way, but I
well, yes,
do.
but I mean, but you can keep taking it deeper and further, and I've gotten to, and I'm not done because I've been working on a series of ratings this last week, and I still have one more. Like there's one more. I'm just not ready. I'm not sure yet when I want to release it. It's kind of sitting there, and it's 70 to 80% complete, and it's the last one, and I know it's the last one. And it's taken me to a point. This is gonna sound totally crazy, but I mean, I don't even know if we're really here.
Oh, really?
Uh, I mean, we are. I mean, here we are talking.
That's right.
I mean, here we are talking, but I've gotten into this lots of times too, and I've talked with some friends about like our eyes, for example, right? When you close your eyes, like you see nothing, you see darkness, right? But you
Right.
open them, and all of a sudden everything comes alive. I mean, so what exactly are these, and what exactly are we truly connected to from these, and from
Right.
these and touch and our senses, like what guides us and what guides everything, the animal kingdom and the human kingdom and every kingdom in between, and I mean all the craziness and everything like there's got to be an underlying thing, but then I get to this point where I ask myself the question, because with our limited human perception, where we think it requires thought in order to create, right? We can agree with that, right? But
Right.
but that assigns like a name and a value and brings it into the almost like try to bring it into the material when there's nothing into the material realm or the 3D or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, what created the thought?
Well, no, that's just it, isn't
And then
it?
that's when I get myself into the infinity loop. And if you look at some of my latest writings, like it's a lot. And I've had some people reach out to me about them and whatever, and they're very curious about a few things. And I mean, where this stuff's coming from, some of this stuff, like I mean, I'm reading it and I mean it kind of makes sense. I can identify with it a little bit. But I mean, this is the stuff that is coming out of me and through me that in 6 months from now or a year from now what do you call it, integration or whatever, something will transpire which will make it make more sense, and I'll just be like, okay, holy shit, like even for me, like when I'm working and doing what I do, I mean when I'm like, I mean, here's my notes right now from just this conversation, okay, so
I
I'm
gotcha.
right,
Yeah,
so I mean, oh, see there goes my mind. So I know it's getting time to go to bed soon. I mean, I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, and I'm probably like I'm
I
half
gotcha.
half out of it.
Well, I don't want to keep you to the point where you won't come back and have
Oh no
more
no
conversations with me.
I'll
No.
definitely no I'll definitely come back because
Okay, good.
there's
Good.
still there's still a lot to talk about, because I mean I guess there's kind of, I mean I don't know whether anyone wants to hear this or just you want to hear it, but I mean I've had some people, seriously question my authenticity, and I'll tell you this, I'm as real as it gets. I'm as real as it gets.
Well, you know
You can
what?
pick,
I
you
don't I
can
don't worry
you can
about
pick it
those
with
folks
me. No,
because
no, I don't worry about those folks either. I don't worry about them, but I just want to state on the record, I'm as real as it gets. I'm as real as it gets. And I like to see, I mean, I'm not putting myself on some high pedestal or anything like that, because that's not me. That's not what I'm about or whatever.
oh, I
But
understand.
I'll tell you this, I'm as real as it gets, and I'll just leave it at that. And you know what? Lots of people, I'm not, I'm either you love me or you hate me. There's
Yeah, no,
no
I know
there's
that feeling too.
no middle ground with me. You either
No,
love me or you hate me, and I don't care either way which
that's right.
I don't care, because
That's another
I
thing
am
we have in
me.
common,
I
Jason.
am me, and I will treat you with the same respect, the same kindness, the same love, the same compassion, the same anything as you treat me, I will treat you equal in return. If you want fire with Jason, Jason has fire too. He has lots of fire, and he usually has more fire. So I mean, I'm just saying. No,
Right.
that's not true. I'm I'm a very peaceful, I'm a very peaceful person. But anyway, Sheila, I don't know if anyone even watched us, but I don't even know how long
Oh, we got up to 11 folks in the room
Oh
at one
God,
time.
11 views. So there
Yeah,
we
there's 9 here
go. On our
now.
way.
So,
What's that award they give like the best podcast? Like, isn't
oh,
it I mean we could be on there one day. I'll tell you this about all of this. It all starts with the day the person picks up one of these, or the day the person gets in front of that camera, in front of one of those microphones, because everyone starts at the same place, and
that's right.
everyone starts at the same place. And I mean, we'll see
Well,
what
I've never made any secret of this. The whole point of what I do here is for me.
yeah,
This is for me.
yeah,
If it helps somebody else and somebody else finds it interesting, that's a win-win situation as far as I'm concerned.
yeah,
But I have never, ever, ever made it any secret that what I do here on YouTube has always been for me.
yeah. Well,
And
before we go, I just want to once again just say like how, thankful and grateful that I am for you, and I realize, how dedicated you are, and you have an amazing voice, and you have an amazing personality, and you have an amazing energy, and this was very obviously supposed to happen because I remember when I got your first video and I watched it, I was just like, holy shit, like, okay, this is it. I mean, I don't need Morgan Freeman. I have Sheila Karuna. Okay, like, I don't need. I don't
you
need.
honor me, sir.
And the biggest thing about us is we're real.
Yes.
You
No, you're
do
right.
this.
When you say
Like
you're as
even
real as
even
it
you say,
gets, I feel
and
the same way.
I see your the one thing that really makes me have a lot of respect for you is that I see your dedication. I
Aw,
see, and I've looked, and I haven't really watched much of your stuff to be honest with you. I mean, I just have no time. I try to listen to the stuff you're doing with my stuff, but I mean, I know you have lots of stuff going back years because I've kind of scrolled through it and looked what was all there and whatever. But the one thing that I give you a great deal of respect for is because you're right. You have, a couple hundred followers, and I've looked at lots of your stuff, and it's like one view, two views, three views, four, five, six, seven. But you have this fire of determination, to keep moving forward because you are doing it for some type of a reason, and that reason has led you and me to become acquainted.
yep.
So I mean, if you would have missed even one of those one episodes where no one watched it, this might not have ever transpired.
No, that's right.
So
No, you're absolutely right. And that's why I say I never worry too much about any of that because I'm not doing it for any other reason than for me.
yeah.
And that
That's like
makes it
that's like the writing. That's like the writing. I'm doing it for me.
that's right. And that's the most important thing. And I want to say this about that, Jason. Um, that is the biggest reason I think that I was drawn to it. Okay. I that and there's you two are bringing through something very important in my view because it's activating me. There are times when I can't now yesterday I think it was and maybe even the day before I was able to record a whole lot more of your writing than I've ever recorded in one at one go. And so that also tells me that there were things in some of the other writing that I had to integrate because there's been times where I just can't, I
Yeah.
cannot, I
Yeah. I
just
know.
cannot.
Oh no, I know.
Right. And so, yes, there's, and that's what that's the only thing I can say about that. I'm grateful that you are who you are and that you're doing that
I'm just
writing in
Jason.
the first place.
I'm just Jason. That's it.
Well, and that's all we have to be, right? Every single one of us on this earth, in my view, are required we are unique and are required in some capacity. Every being, this is the other thing, and I'm going to say it right now while we got still 6 people in here. Anyone, Cindy Mack has reached out to me, and I want everyone who feels like they have a message that they are to deliver or they don't know what they're supposed to do. Reach out. We'll have a conscious conversation because why not? Why not? I know that I bring through content like yours and others, anything that I am nudged to record. There's a reason for it. I don't always understand it, and I don't have to understand it. I promise to follow my nudges, and so far, I haven't been nudged incorrectly. So, reach out and we'll have a conscious conversation as well. Jason, I really appreciate you and the fact that you A are doing the writing and B that you came and had this conscious conversation with me. And I look forward to many more.
Thank you. Thank you for everything that you do for me as well. And I've been absolutely honored to be one of your guests tonight.
Well, and I'm going to, in the show more section of this video, in the description, I'm also going to place a link to the Ancient Order of the Hermetics, where you can read Jason's work without listening to my videos, because I can only record so many in a day. And there are lots of his work there that you can, if you feel so nudged to do so, that way you can find his work and read it in that group. It is a public group, but you will have to join. And I think that then is it automatic or do they have to be approved? Well, how does that
I'm
work
not,
now?
I really am not 100% sure if you go
Yeah,
there.
me either, because I've been in there for
If
years.
you go there, you'll figure it out one way or another. But I'm
Yeah.
sure it's public, like the public can go in and see.
Yeah, I think, and it's publicly available. It's like you can search for it, but I'll put a link in there so that you can find it easily.
And then also, I know like a lot of your stuff is like I like on my personal Facebook page, like it's public, like a lot of the recordings I've been putting on there public. I've never had my Facebook page open publicly before. So I mean, I put a few writings up on there too, and I've been kind of tossing around a few ideas about that as well, but that's for another day and another thought. I gotta close my eyes here right away.
I know.
Sheila, I'm gonna run.
Okay. Mwah.
And
So much.
I just want to say once again, thank you very much. And to anyone that's tuned in and listened to us tonight, thank you. This has been it's been great. My heart was pounding out of my chest in the beginning, and I think if we continue to do stuff like this, I don't know what we can talk about next, like aliens or wherever we want to go, but
We can go anywhere you want to go. That's the
we'll
beauty.
see. We'll definitely see what happens. But I was gonna tell you one more thing, and then I'm really going. So
Sure.
when I was in Las
Absolutely.
Vegas, and my next trip that I do to Las Vegas, if I am ever fortunate enough to be there again, I've been there a few times now in my 50 years. I'd love to go back. I didn't. I we just home based in Las Vegas, and then we went exploring all over Nevada. I can officially say, like when you go down in southern Nevada. There's like Nevada, Arizona, and California all in that one triangle, like on the Route 66 highway where it starts there. So I've never been to California in my life, but I can officially say after that trip, I have been to Needles, California. So I stepped into California, like I had my feet on the California dirt. So I can say now I have been to California, to Needles, California. I was there, but I went swimming in the Colorado River and we were in Laughlin, Nevada. And I mean, we were traveling like ghost towns and all over the place. And I'm the Valley of Fire and around Rachel,
You find
Nevada.
yourself in the States again, you better let me know and you better come to North Carolina.
Well, actually, we'll talk off air.
All
Okay,
right.
we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Mwah.
Okay,
Till
bye.
next time. Well, thank you everybody for showing up. I really appreciate you guys coming in for this impromptu live with myself and Jason. And I really appreciate everybody. And I guess that's it for this time. I hope that you will continue to move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you, because it is only a perspective and your perception of that perspective in the moment. Until next time, be well.